How's it going? Today I'm talking with radio legend Matt Keane. Matt would be very well known in Waterford. Matt, how's it going, boy?
Not too bad, Shane, and yourself?
Ah, sure, not too bad, boy. Strange times.
Strange times indeed. None of us ever saw this before. Hopefully, Shane, we never see it again. But look, all we can do is the best we can. And, the frontline workers, let's hope they keep up the incredible job that they're doing. And, of course, the people over 70 who are playing it blinder also by just, staying indoors. So hopefully it will pass sooner rather than later, Shane.
Yeah, the word, I never heard of the word cocoon and Matt until just a couple of weeks ago.
I never heard of it myself. I'd agree with you. I never heard of it myself. I tell you, when all this is over, I never want to hear it again either, Shane.
Yeah, I know. How are you managing yourself?
Well, I'm not too bad. I'm under 70, just about 67. So, I can take a trip up to the shop, which is just a couple of 100 yards away from me. So it's not too bad. And my wife is in the same boat. So, yeah, it's not too bad. But, we have 3 grandchildren. Unfortunately, we just can't see them. We're doing the usual Skype and business and... but...
well, unfortunately, Matt, that's actually for the best, of course.
Yeah, it's hard not to be able to see them. You'd love to see them. It's, best part of 2 months now since we saw them, which is tough going. But we just hope and pray we get back to normality sooner rather than later, Shane.
Yeah, I know. I was out, I remember the Gold Cup Friday was kind of like the last... That was kind of like the last, I suppose, big weekend for the pubs. And then next thing then... After that weekend, then Everton really picked up from there. Everton got really serious, and hopefully it'll pass.
And I think Cheltenham was a little bit tainted this year. I just couldn't get that. I used to love the tree, and now it's of course 4-day meeting. I used to love it, but just couldn't get the grips with it. I think for some reason this year, and had very few bets on it, and. The debate is still going on, especially with the crisis in England. Should Cheltenham have taken place? And look, it took place, and there's nothing we can do about it at this stage. But I think there's a little bit tainted this year, Shane.
Yeah, I know expert now, but my own opinion is I suppose it didn't get cancelled because the amount of money involved. But I wouldn't have had it on any, considering how serious this ended up getting. I suppose, but I suppose nobody could actually predict how bad it was really going to get.
Yeah, and I think the British government got it terribly wrong. They were really slow out of the blocks. We saw the Sunday Times there on Sunday where Boris Johnson didn't come out with flying colours, and they were very, very slow off the blocks over there. I think we here in Ireland were much quicker to react to COVID-19, but I think the British government are trying to play catch-up and still are. When you see the amount of deaths, I know the population over there is much bigger than Ireland, but they were definitely slow out of the blocks, and in my opinion, Cheltenham should not have gone ahead, Shane.
Yeah, I think we're dealing with it well here as well. In fairness, I agree that they're handling this situation fairly head on, like.
Oh, they are. Yeah, they're doing a pretty good job. You will have people knocking them, but you're not going to please everybody all the time. It's the same in every walk of life, but they're doing the very best they can, I think. And it got off to a bit of a dodgy start. When a lot of people here in the Waterford area were heading off out to Tramore and heading out to Dunmore, and they were treated like a bank holiday weekend. But thankfully that only lasted a good weekend, and now Tramore and Dunmore and all these places are more or less deserted.
They are, and I suppose the funny thing about it is I see a lot of people saying when they were away at the beaches and all them places, if it was a good proper summer's day, you wouldn't have half the crowd.
You wouldn't, yeah. And I don't think people at that stage realised how serious this was. I think a lot of people might have thought, this thing will blow over after a week or two, But here we are, 7, 8 weeks down the road, and maybe another 7 or 8 weeks to go. So
and we're still talking about it. But it's gas though, Matt. It's funny, like in life, like sometimes, and I think it doesn't matter how old you are. Like if you're told not to do something, you're nearly more inclined to do it then.
This is it. It's probably a trait in Irish people. I suppose when we're all going to school, Shane, we used to do something similar. If you were told not to do something, you would do it, or even your parents. They're long gone now, but they tell you not to do something, you go off and do it.
Oh, definitely. I hope you're all staying safe anyway, Matt. How you find it now? What I find myself doing now, I'm watching a lot of old Waterford hurling matches.
Yeah, you must admit, TG Carr are playing an absolute blinder. They're showing those 2 games every Sunday, and it's lovely. And Sunday week last year to play the 2004 Munster final when Dan Shanahan and then Paul Flynn got that incredible goal from the free kick, beating Donald Oak, Cusick, and would you believe it? I still get goosebumps, and I still jump up and down when I see those goals going in. Like, you know,
did you tune in, Matt? You did.
Oh, I did, yeah. I'm watching Ken McGrath and lifting the cup and everything, like, you know. And speaking with Dan Shanahan there recently, we were recording all those great games, yeah. But that's what we're doing. It's the same with football, looking at the old matches.
So it's great,
it's
sir.
enjoyable because you have to forget about a lot of those matches. But that 2004 final was incredible, and Ken McGrath's leap to catch the ball in the last 9 seconds was it's poetry in motion, really. You know.
That was something else. He was actually, but you know, funnily enough, we all when we allude to that, we always say Ken McGrath's fantastic catch or his outstanding catch. But he did an interview there not so long ago on the radio, the week before last, I think, and he actually said it was a good catch. It wasn't that fantastic. So that'll kind of tell you what the type of player he was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he's very understated chap, isn't he, Ken? Like, you know, I mean, when the testimonial match was held for him up there in Welsh Park, was up there that night, and I know there was 10,000-12,000 people packed into the place. He writes about it in his book. It's a smashing book. I don't know if you read it, Hand on My Heart. It's a fantastic book.
Oh, that came out. That was a few years ago. That came out, was it, Matt?
It was, yeah. His autobiography, Hand on My Heart. And speaking about Dan Shanahan, if you don't know me, don't judge me. That one came out in 2010. Another smashing book. Dan.
That was brilliant as well.
To actually write about two brilliant autobiographies, and I'm still coming to the end of Ken's. I think I've got one chapter to go, but it's one of those books I had there, and I never really got around to reading it. But in the last couple of days, I really enjoyed it. It's fantastic, you know. I read Dan's book a couple of years ago, fabulous book.
I read Dan's one myself. It was very good. Now, in fairness.
Yeah,
very detailed.
That's Dan, yeah, and the name of it, if you don't know me, don't judge me. And what you see is what you get with Dan. You know, he's as honest as the day is long. One of the nicest people I've ever met in sport, and he's doing a fantastic job at the moment now up there, coaching and training the Camogie team. The Camogie is making a fierce comeback here in Waterford, and it's great to see Dan involved in that setup. I watched it before this COVID-19 business came in, and you see him up there in Carriganore on Tuesday nights, and my God, to see those girls do it, they train, it's incredible. They train every bit as hard as the Waterford senior hurling team. And
of course, as well, he had a great run, Matt, with St Mary's in the junior. They got to the Munster final, unlucky to actually had a few goal chances that day.
Yeah,
they were
fantastic.
Unlucky.
And I interviewed him there a couple of years ago for Sporting Legends on WLR. They replayed it again this week, and he freely admitted that he gets every bit as much pleasure as wearing the black and amber of Lismore than he used to do with Waterford. You know, club hurling is so special to these players. The club is everything, really. Like, and when you look at it, Shane, really, clubs just loan out their players, don't they, the senior county team?
Oh, absolutely. You know, the club is where it all begins, right?
All over the country, Limerick, Clare, doesn't matter, Offaly, Wexford, wherever you come from, the club players loan their players to the inter-county team. So the club is everything. And when all this business comes to an end, I'd love to see club hurling back again, get the county championship here.
Oh, definitely. But what I find, Matt, I think there's so much commitment involved on the county scene that I think sometimes, in my own opinion, the players' performance may suffer for the club scene because the county takes so much out of them. Would that be fair to say?
I would agree with you, and I suppose an example of that, in a conversation like this, you don't really want to individualise any special person, but we take Austin Gleeson. There's so much expected of Austin Gleeson when he wears the blue and white of Mount Sinai. You know, after having some incredible games for Waterford, he may not on the day, from time to time perform. So you'd wonder, is he, and there could be 100, 200, 300 Austin Gleesons around the country. They put so much into their county scene. Are they really, I won't say committed, but do they have the energy for the club?
Oh, it's hard to play a blinder every time.
Oh, well, this is it. No, everybody has an off day in every walk of life, and that's the way it is, Shane.
But when the Munster final match was on there, that was Easter Sunday. Just by watching that now, how do you think it's 2020 now, obviously, so 16 years ago? How do you think the game has evolved from then to now?
It's gone an awful lot more physical anyway, and the fitness levels are probably even greater at this stage. But ground hurling is a thing of the past, and it has been for a long time. I was growing up, I was actually, believe it or not, at the 1959 All-Ireland final in ground hurling, was in vogue and all through the 60s and that, but that's gone completely. And even catching is gone. I was speaking to Jim Green there a while ago, and he said, years ago when we were talking about Ken McGrath there, jumping up, catching the ball, and Jim said when he was playing, Jim Green in All-Star, of course, with Waterford, when he was playing, and when you jumped up and catch a ball, you'd have to count your fingers when you got back to the ground, because your five fingers could have been taken off you.
Oh, Jesus, definitely, yeah.
Marking you, but that's all gone out of the game at the moment.
But that period of time, Matt, geez, the games between Waterford and Cork in that time period of, we'll say, kind of 03, as far as, I suppose, the rivalry still lives today, but them games for that kind of period of time, for that 3 or 4 years, them games were phenomenal.
It was great, yeah. I mean, Waterford won it in 2002, they beat Cork, and Cork beat Waterford in 2003, and then Waterford beat Cork in 2004. It was an incredible rivalry.
The Munster, when Waterford won it in 02, they would have beaten Tip, and they lost in 03 to Cork, and then we got it back off them then in 04. But that time period, we had some exceptional players, Matt.
Oh, I did. It just rolled off the tongue, don't they? The Irvin Hartleys and the Stephen Framptons, all these guys, just household names, and it's great to see them all still involved, most of them anyway, with their clubs, Frampton and all these guys are still with Ballygunner, and Brian Flannery still up there with Mount St. They were fantastic, super players, brilliant players.
But Waterford, the thing about it is we really did, if you mentioned the household names there, obviously, Big Dan, Tony Brown, Ken McGrath, John Milan, Owen Kelly, the list goes on and on. But I think it's some tragedy to have so many players of such a high calibre and not to have the big one.
Yeah, and Dan Shanahan said that he was speaking to Sir Moss McCarthy in different interviews I did, and he won every award possible, Hurler of the Year, numerous All-Stars. The big one, of course, was the Texaco Award. He won that one, and he was up there with the likes of, Katie Taylor and all the top boxers and golfers and everything. But Tomas said it to him. He said, would you swap all those for an All-Ireland medal? And his answer was brutally honest. Damn sure I would.
Yeah.
Damn sure I would, he said. And is it a terrible shame that, as you said, the Ken McGraths, John Milans, the Tony Browns, the Paul Flynns, no All-Ireland to show for them. You feel so sorry for those lads. It's one of the real, mysteries of sport. Why did we not win an All-Ireland? We went so close and we lost dodgy semi-finals.
Oh, Jesus, so many semi-finals.
Kenny, and the ball trickled over the line, and I forget who hit it. It was Shepard or someone hit the thing. DJ Carey.
Oh, 2004, Matt. Yeah.
Yeah, the ball trickled over the line. Oh my God! I remember crying on the train coming back. That was too much to take, Shane, that day.
But you know what me and my father were discussing about as well, and it's funny, we were able to beat that Cork team. We bet them in the 04 Munster final. We bet them. Now they bet us in the 06 All-Ireland semi-final. But we would have beaten them in 2007 on the way to winning Munster. We bet Limerick in the Munster final, but we would have bet Cork on the way to win it. So we were able to beat that Cork team. But that Cork team were also able to win the All-Irelands. You know what I mean?
This is it. Yeah. It's an argument that we could talk about all day. It'll go on forever
absolutely.
and ever. That 2004 when John Milan got sent off and he refused to appeal it. Remember, there was a footballer up in Mayo appealed it and it went to the High Court on Saturday night and all. And he was offered money to fund the business of going to court. And John said, "No, I'm not appealing." He said, "I did a crime. I'm going to do the time." And he got so much credit for that, for his brutal honesty.
And that's what it was. You're dead right. Brutal honesty.
And that, we said what you see is what you get with Dan Shanahan. The same applies to John Milan. As honest as the day is long, you know. And he'd always remember that thing. That was the day he came out. He said, I know it's my county, you know, but it's the other statement that always stick with me. No, I'm not appealing. He said, I did the crime, I'll do the time.
Yeah, and it's very true. How long are you working with WLR now, Matt?
1978 I started. 1978 is the year I got married, and of course.
Geez, a lot of important things happened so then, Matt.
It did, and of course we're celebrating on the 20th of April. We celebrated the 40th anniversary of Waterford FC winning the FAI Cup.
That's right. I was going to get to that. 40 years by, imagine.
Yeah, we won it in 1937, beat St James's Gate. Nobody knew it would take another 43 years to win it, but Tommy Jackson came along to Keane Park, put together a nice side, got to the final in 1979, lost to Dundalk. Didn't really play that very good against Dundalk in 1979, but I remember coming out of the ground and Tommy Jackson came up to me and he said, Matt, he said, I'm telling you, we're going to win this cup next year. And he delivered the next year. It was just incredible. He brought in, you know, people like Brian Gardner, who got the winning goal. Sid Wallace was already there. He brought Paul Kirk down from the Irish League. Two Dublin lads, Mark Meighan and Larry Murray. And beautiful squad. Won the first game away to Turlestown 5-0. You know, and
5-0. That's some result now. Jeez, convincing.
Yeah. But Turles were kind of, you know, they were virgins, I suppose, in the League of Ireland sort of thing. But there was one massive game, a third round game against Athlone Town, and I thought we were going to come out with that day because Athlone were a dog team out in Keane Park. But Vinnie McCarthy whipped over a second half corner kick, and it was Brian Gardner again. Was in the right place. Mick Smith, the Athlone keeper, tipped it onto the crossbar, and it just fell into the path of Brian, and he stuck it home. So he scored in that. He already after scoring against Turles, and then he got that brilliant winner against the St. Pat's. But the Limerick semi-final was incredible. First one, funny old game, 1-1. So the FAI reset it for 4 days after up in Milltown. Milltown absolutely packed to the rafters.
You didn't get much time to recuperate, Matt, in fairness there now.
Because that was the year of the bad flu, and even the cup final was brought forward a week. And that's why Limerick won the league on the same day that Waterford won the cup. There was a massive bad flu. You know, the COVID-19, half the country was down with the flu and everything. It was rejigged, and there was matches postponed because it was
everything was all over the place, Matt.
Everything was all over the place, yeah. But the replay, oh my heavens, what a game. 3 headers. Tony Dumpy scored from a header, Paul Kirk scored from a header, and Tony Dumpy scored from a header. Incredible, man. Waterford won 3-2, and that set it up for the final against St. Patrick's Athletic. And there was 18,000 at the match, and would you believe it, 16,000 of those people were from Waterford. Totally outnumbered.
Jeez, that's phenomenal support, Matt.
Incredible when you consider the St. Patrick's Athletic are a Dublin team.
Yeah.
We had 16 of the 18,000 at the match. There was train after train after train left over here. Bus after bus after bus, car after car. It's just a max exodus from Waterford City and County.
But going into that final, Matt, like who was considered favourites?
I always thought Waterford were considered favourites because St. Patrick's had made hard work of two non-league teams. CIE Transport, they needed a replay to beat them, and I think it was Glebe North or someone like that had to another replay. So they weren't in great form going in. Now they did cause a surprise in the semi-final to beat Bohemians, but I always thought Waterford would have the upper hand. We had to keep an eye on Jackie Jemison. He was the class act in the League of Ireland at the time. Brilliant player. I suppose he was the George Best of the League of Ireland.
Where did he play? Was he striker, Matt?
He was I'd call him an attacking midfield player, but he also could play as a striker. Well, what a brilliant player. And Tommy Jackson gave Tony Dunphy a man-to-man job of marking Jackie Jemison. But Jackie Jemison loved that. He loved the fella up on his back, and he could swivel left or right and that. So midway through the second half, Tommy Jackson made a decision to take Tony Dunphy off Jemison and put Alpha Newcomb on him. And Alpha Newcomb had a different way altogether of marking Jemison. He stand off of him, and when Jemison had too much time on the ball, he just didn't know what to do with it, you know.
Too much time to think, I suppose.
Too much time to think, yeah. And Al would stand off of him, and 15 minutes later, Jackie Jensen got totally frustrated and he made a swipe at Alpha Nuke and he got booked for it. He wasn't actually sent off. But when he got frustrated, the entire St. Patrick's Athletic team got frustrated and Waterford won the cup. And, but we're still celebrating it 40 years. We still haven't won it 40 years later,
Jeez, it's a long time, lad. A long time.
Long time. Of course, after that, we lost the 1986 cup final. That was the day Noah Sinnott scored an OG in the first minute, and everything went downhill from that. And we got back then in 2004 up there in Lansdowne Road, took the lead. Willie Bruton scored. We thought it was going to be our day, but it all went horribly wrong. It was Alan Kirby of all players who scored the equaliser. Alan, who served Waterford so well down here, as indeed did his dad, Dave Kirby. And 1-1, we thought we were going to extra time, and then there was 2 balls came onto the pitch. The match ball came on, and another ball came on, and a lot of the Waterford defenders stood still, didn't know what to do. And unbelievably, the referee waved play on, and a better called Paul Keane stuck the ball into the net with 2 minutes to go. That was a hard one to take.
That's nearly like a freak kind of moment to play there, Matt.
Oh, I mean, you watch it over and over and over on that. The 2 balls on the pitch, 2 or 3 the Waterford defenders just stood still because they just thought a play would be held up, but the referee played on, and that was soul destroying. Alan Reynolds, of course, was the manager that day, and of course Rennie is back with us again and doing a great job at the moment with the Blues down here. Jesus,
Matt, that's a cruel way to lose a match, though, lad. By God.
Oh, it was unbelievable. Yeah, it was over on the far side. We were in the main stand, looking over the other side, and we saw these 2 balls on the pitch, and all the Waterford defenders stopping and hands up in the air, like it ought to be a drop ball or something.
Mad stuff.
It was bad. It was horrendous, and so we left heartbroken again, and we haven't been back since in the final.
I have to ask you, Matt, your famous line about you can't beat live football. Where did that come from? How did that it's famous now, like?
It's famous now. They can't walk past schools or anything. The schools are closed now, but
all you'll hear is you can't beat live football.
Live football, yeah. Can't pass no sign or dead aside or water for all the kids to be shouting. It was only I do the promos for the match. Come to the RSC Waterford up there in Shelbourne Friday night.
So and so.
7:45. I just put it in one day and Wayne Brown records all these promos and ads and that. And I just put it in for sheer black art, and you cannot beat live football.
I love it, lad.
And Wayne said, gee, that sounds great. He said, I'm going to leave in that. I said, you're not. I only did that for, and he left it in anyway, and, I don't know how many years ago it was.
That's a good while ago, though, Matt, I'd imagine, is it?
Yeah, it used to be 10, 12 years ago. I just put it in for sheer black art.
Yeah.
You cannot beat live football.
I love it, lads.
Wayne said, that's a great line. He said, we leave that in. I said, you can't leave it in. People think I'm cracked.
And here we go, and we're talking about it now. So, geez, funnily enough, sometimes things that catch on like that, they might catch on by absolute accident. You never in your wildest dreams did you think people, you'll be walking past schools and they'd be roaring loud at you.
Yeah, because I remember walking out of the recording studio that day and I said, you're not going to leave that in, are you? And he just smiled. And the next day I came out on the radio. I couldn't believe it when I heard it. I said, oh my God, I'm going to be in trouble over this. A bit of black art and shit. That's all I thought with it.
You have to have a bit of fun too, Matt.
Sport, we're all missing it, like, of course, at the moment. But have a bit of crack. Sport is not the be all and end all of everything, but, we'd love to see the soccer players back, the hurlers back, the rugby players back, the camogie players back. And of course, my second favourite sport, basketball, the Wildcats, they had made the playoff to get ready to play Glanmire, but it looks like the basketball is definitely gone because it's indoors.
Oh Jesus, definitely, yeah, that'll suffer greatly. Another thing, sporting event that'll be on now, Matt. Now I'm not aware if you're into it or not, but the snooker will be on now.
Snooker, I'm watching reading Ken Doherty today. I think it was Ken Doherty was saying that he thinks snooker could be back before all the other sports, but snooker.
But it's usually around now, though. This kind of third week of April that the Crucible will be on.
In Sheffield, yeah. magic. I don't know. Go back to the great days of Hurricane Higgins and all those guys, Dennis Taylor, and
they contested the black ball final, of course, didn't they?
Yeah.
Am I right in saying that?
Yeah.
Was that 85, Matt?
It was, yeah. We all stayed up all night. Remember? And it was incredible matches.
I can remember, like, there was a documentary done about that, and it was on a Sunday night, and I can remember the main thing I can remember from it is people saying, like, it went on till all hours, just all hours.
Yeah, I think it was 2:30, 20 to 3 or something in the finish.
That's unheard of, Matt.
Unheard of, yeah. Incredible. Yeah, but no, snooker, I can take it or leave it at the moment. I might watch a final or something, but it just hasn't got the magic of those great days.
No, it's after the characters.
Yeah.
I was up at the Premier League darts the end of February, Matt. Now I don't know what your take is on the darts. Would you love the darts?
Yeah.
But Michael Smith hit a 9-darter, right? It was a jam-packed in the 3 arena. Now I've been at countless Ireland matches and Waterford hurling matches, but the 2 things stood out to me. When Michael Smith hit the 9-darter, we just went beluga. The roof nearly came off when he hit the 9-darter. It was just fantastic, and the cameraman actually had it on double 2 for some reason. I don't know why, but he buried double 12. But once he hits the first 180 and you're there and you're kind of geeing him on, and then he gets the next 3 in and you're just calling every dart. But when everyone came to everyone's acknowledgement that I went into double 12, the place went bananas.
Yeah. That's fabulous, isn't it? I love the Premier League watching it.
I'd go up now most years.
Christmas, isn't it? Christmas, like, it starts before Christmas and then there's a break for 2 days, isn't it? Christmas Day and St. Stephen's Day, then it's back.
Yeah, and then the final will be on New Year's Day.
That's right, yeah.
And then another thing that stood out that night, Matt, in Dublin was Willie O'Connor was playing as a contender against Michael Van Gerwen, and he's obviously a Limerick man, and he came out to Zombie by the Cranberries.
That's his theme song, is it?
Yeah, that was his walkout song, and we kind of were talking about it on the way up in the bus, saying, geez, he has to walk out to that now, because the Limerick man and everything else, the connection there. But by God, when he came out again, everyone singing and just the atmosphere just top class.
Yeah, the late great Dolores O'Riordan, of course, yeah, what a singer she was,
I only see it on YouTube there recently as well, that it was one of the first Irish songs to get into 1 million viewers.
Was it really? Yeah. But a gentleman, Gary Anderson, the Flying Scotsman, hosted Mount St. Hurling Club, J Club, held a night here about 2 years ago. I was doing the MC at it. An absolute utter gentleman. Beautiful.
I met him actually a night in Lauders as well. A nice man.
Yeah, isn't he a smashing man?
Raymond Van Barneveld came to Lauders before. Phil the Power Taylor came to the Park Hotel. All Gary's still playing, but Barney and Taylor are both. Barney finished his last year, just a year just gone, and Taylor finished up just a few years ago as well. Legends of the game as well.
Yeah, and I got a signed photograph there with the late Eric Bristow. He did a good couple of years ago now out there in Tremor, in O'Neill's bar in Tremor. I was in the MC that night, and another nice guy, the Cockney craft. Cockney.
Oh, the crafty Cockney, yeah.
The crafty Cockney, that's what they called him, yeah. So we didn't know what to expect. Some people said, I don't think he'd be a bit grumpy in that, he might have enough of it, but he certainly turned up trumps that night. He just signed stuff for everybody, and he played against everybody. Anything he was asked to do, he did it, and I was sad. I was actually just doing a bit of polishing, as everybody's probably doing. I had some moment there a few days ago, and I was polishing off his autograph. Photograph of his red shirt, and to Matt best wishes, Eric Bristow. It's sad.
I met him myself. Geez, he wasn't. He died 8 or 9 months later. He did a night in the Dungarvan United in the clubhouse as well, Matt.
Did he? Yeah.
He did. Yeah. He didn't, and he was he was a right crack now as well, in fairness, but he wasn't even. He was dead. I'd say 6 to 9 months later, he was dead.
Yeah, very sad. And of course, we lost another legend during the week, a soccer legend in Norman Hunter. You know, people always remember that great Leeds team, you know, with Jackie Charlton and John Giles and all.
I've seen a lot of people playing tribute to him, Matt.
Oh, yeah. Brilliant player. He was always bite your legs, they called it, but he was also a fabulous footballer. I think an awful lot of people with an awful lot of attention on his tackling and that, but he had a beautiful way of passing the ball. You know, and Leeds United used to play some fantastic football, but they got this kind of a reputation that on Revy that they were crowd of kickers and tugs and that. But my God, when they put their mind to it, there was some team to play. And Norman Hunter died of COVID-19. I think he was only 77, and he was only after getting his World Cup medal there a couple of years ago.
He was only a young fella like yourself, Matt.
That's all.
Leeds, Leeds, you need Leeds back in the Premier League as well.
Well, I'm sure all Leeds fans are hoping and praying that this league will be completed, and of course the current Leeds players and the directors over there said that his biggest wish, Norman Hunter's biggest wish, was to get Leeds back into the Premier League. So if they do get up and running again, be it behind closed doors or whatever way they're going to fill it out, I think Leeds would be a massive addition again to the Premier League. Shane.
Who do you actually follow yourself, Matt?
Oh, well, I'm a lifelong Ipswich Town supporter. You know, I was at the 1978 Cup final when we beat Arsenal 1-0. Roger Osborne got the ball. The ball was ripped over, and Willie Young, who was the centre half of Arsenal, miskicked it and it fell into the path of Roger Osborne, and he buried it 1-0. Caused a major shock that day, and that was 1978, would you believe, Ipswich Town, and went over there. Since the early 70s, I think.
Great, that was nice. Jeez, to witness the cup final, that was something you'll never forget, man.
But even in recent times, like we've had Waterford lads playing with us. Darrell Murphy, of course, banged in goals on. He was 3 spells he spent.
He did, a big, strong man, strong player.
Big, strong man, yeah. And word has it he could be coming back to Waterford. He's retired from English football. He's with Bolton at the moment, and if we do get up and running, I think the plan was to have him signed for Waterford.
Jeez, he'd fit in lovely now, Matt.
Oh, he'd be superb up front. He'd score goals for fun, I think, in the Premier League. But apart from that,
he'd bully centre half, but he would, lad.
He would, yeah. Of course, we had Stephen Hunt and Noel Hunt playing on the same Ipswich team at one time, and that was magic. I used to love going over watching the 2 Hunts playing. Like, you know, it was great 2 Waterford lads again. Yeah,
it is great to see that, of course, isn't it?
It's great. As we talked about legends dying at that 2-3 years ago. Bobby Robson described Kevin Beattie as the best English player of all time, best English defender. And I got to know him. I used to do some work over there for BBC Radio Suffolk from time to time when I go over there. And Kevin Beattie was the resident guest on every week. And they say never meet your heroes. That's nonsense, because he was just the nicest man. And when he died, I wrote tribute after tribute about him, and some of it was published over there in England and everything in Ipswich. But what an absolute gentleman Kevin Beattie was, yeah. And that's what Bobby Robson said. He said he was the best English defender of all time.
I've heard a few people. It's funny you alluded to that there now. I often did hear people say that of all ages, you should never meet your heroes.
Yeah, never meet your heroes.
That's an old one, Matt, is it?
It's an old one, yeah, but it's wrong when it comes to Kevin Beattie, and indeed John Walk, another absolute gentleman. He looks after the hospitality over there now on Portman Road on match days. Another lovely man. So never meet your hero. It doesn't make sense to me when I talk about John Walk and especially Kevin Beattie, Shane.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Just yeah, there's a lot in that. I won't keep it too much longer, Matt. I just have one question for you there now. A little bird.
Just before you ask me that question, I have to name another man.
Of course, Matt.
We're talking about hurlers, okay, of Waterford hurlers. That my favourite hurler of all time, and I do call him a good friend. He captained Wexford in 1986 to the final. Martin Story, what a man! And I met him there a couple of months ago. The Little Blue Heroes, Jim Green. Go back to Jim Green again now. An all-star. He has the Little Blue Heroes. You know, the Little Blue Heroes charity.
Oh yes, of course.
Is one in conjunction with the Gardaí, the Garda Síochána. And Jim came up with a master plan that he'd get all the great Waterford players to play the Wexford 1986 team that won the All-Ireland. And would you believe it? Every one of the Wexford players turned up. Every one of them, all 22 of them turned up. And surprise possession of mine now, Shane, I got all the Wexford players to sign the hurley for me. You know,
gee, that's a lovely thing to have, lad.
Oh, it was fantastic.
Who did Wexford beat in 1986 in the final, Matt?
Yeah, you have me. You have me now.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think there now because I was looking through the archives of the other day.
Yeah. You have me on that one, Shay. But Martin Story, an absolute gent, his daughter was a brilliant camogie player. Of course, he managed the camogie team after as well. Like, you know.
And where did he play, Matt? What position was his?
Oh, he was just centre field, like, you know. You talk about people catching ball, and he was as hard as nails. Brilliant. I think he's one of the all-time great All-Ireland captain winners, Shane.
And they all signed the jersey for you?
Yeah, all signed the Hurley.
Oh, the Hurley, sorry.
Yeah, and it was Martin brought me into the dressing room to get the make sure everybody signed it. Nobody move, he said, till this Hurley is signed.
Great, that's a nice thing to have.
Lovely.
A very nice thing to have.
Yeah, well, my mother was born in Campoy, so I kind of went for blood running through me someplace, and she was born in Campoy, just outside New Ross, you know.
Yeah, no, what I wanted to ask you, Matt, actually non-sport related. I was told of a little birdie today that you used to play in a band. Is that true?
I played a number of them, 35 years I think I played. There was a choir here called The Young Generation. It was run by a priest called Father Mean, and he wanted a few musicians. So what he did, he got little urchins to sing in the choir, and it was an incredible experience for a number of years. We used to do folk masses in all the churches here in Waterford, and then we used to have to go up to do the folk masses on RT up in Montrose on Sunday mornings, and we used to record them then for Sunday mornings on the radio. And I remember one particular day we had a guest star, and the guest star was Gilbert O'Sullivan, who was born in Waterford out there on the Cork Road, and that was a fantastic day. But I played in a bands called the Jet Set. There was other different bands, and you know, I say they're fantastic bands. We've got fantastic times. We had a great time. And you were talking about the Dungarvan Football Club a while back there. I was playing one particular night, and my wife was expecting a baby, and there was no mobile phones or anything that day, but the hospital here said, look, if there's any news, where will you be? I said, I've been to Dungarvan Soccer Club doing a gig. The gig was just over, and the phone rang, and they said, this Airmount Hospital is on. And I answered the phone, and the nurse came onto the phone, and she said, Matt, is it? I said, yes. She said, congratulations, you're a dad for the first time. My daughter had been born that day, that night. It's a lovely story, and I always remember where I was in the Dungarvan Football Club playing a gig that night with a band called the Jet Set.
Geez, that's a lovely thing to remember that.
It's lovely, yeah.
Oh, geez, that's a great story, lad.
Yeah, it's a fantastic story. And I remember, I don't know if the treasurer of the Dungarvan Football Club was very happy. One bottle of champagne followed another bottle of champagne.
Very good.
I think Dungarvan Football Club had to run a raffle out to get the money back.
When you were on about Wexford winning that All Ireland, Matt, was that 1996 you're on about?
96, yeah. What did I say? 86.
Yes, yeah, no, I was thinking it was 96. It was Limerick who they bet.
Yeah, 96, you're right, yeah.
I was thinking, no, because I was actually looking through it only last night, and the only it's lovely to look up who wins these All Irelands, but the only problem is you have to go back to 1959 to see our county on it.
Yeah, and of course we have a new manager in place now, and Liam Carl, and you know, whether there's going to be a championship or not this year, I don't know. Nobody knows.
Yeah, well, time will tell.
We're not medical people, Shane. We just have to wait and see what unfolds.
We'll wait and see what unfolds. Matt, you might give me a live sport before you go, my friend.
Sorry, Shane, give you a what?
You might give me an all live sport, your famous catchphrase before you go.
Okay, yeah, Shane, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Best of luck with your podcast. And as everybody says, you cannot beat live football.
I love it. Matt, all the best. Stay safe, my friend.
Take care, Shane. Take care.
All the best. Bye. All the best.
Bye.
Bye.
For a long time, I did think I would just... Now, I'm...